Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be showing you how to replace a window in your home. I'm going to be replacing a window in my kitchen. So to get started on that, first you're going to need to measure for the replacement window. So to measure for the replacement window, you more than likely will have some type of molding covering the edges. So you're going to have to rip that off all the way around. And you're going to need to measure. So if you were to measure from here, this is the actual fit from here to here, but from here all the way to here to this other stud, that's the rough fit. And so you need to measure usually in 3 places: at the bottom, the middle, and the top. Take the lowest measurement, and that's your fit, whether you're doing the actual or the rough. And then obviously do it from the top as well. You know, you have your actual and then your rough. So go ahead and measure that out so that you can go and purchase your replacement window first. So next, to replace the window, what you need to do is remove the screen if you have one, or a storm window. Usually you just have screws on the outside here with these little tabs there. So just take those off so that you can remove the screen window or storm window or whatever you have there. So next up, if you have an older window like me, you have some tracking on the side here, and you have screws on one side that what they do is you tighten them, it moves the tracking in. As you loosen them, it extends it out. And so don't do what I did. I ended up loosening that out too far, and I ended up screwing it up. I had to rip the bolt out. But up top here, you tighten it in, and it gives you enough room to swing the window out, that half of the window. And then on this side, this is what actually secures it in to your studs, are those bolts. So what you need to do, you need to tighten, figure out whether when you tighten it, whether it tightens the track down, or loosen it if it extends it out. So tighten it all the way down if it's that. Otherwise, just remove the screws if they're the ones that are screwed into the studs. Okay, so eventually what I had to do was I had to just rip out everything around the windowsill down to just the studs on each side, and then we call this a header up here. That's why it's so thick. Oops. So anyways, I had to tear that down, and then you're going to measure it out. So since I have the fins on my window that I'm installing, you want it to basically grab onto a 2x4. So I measured it out, and I'm going to be filling with 2x4s. And you'll want to be using shims and stuff like that to make sure that it's level. So measure it out, see if you can add 2x4s. That way it gives something for the shims to actually nail into on here. Otherwise, you can use the house-given 2x4s, and but I would have to pull that off and be able to nail into there. But my window is quite a bit smaller, and that's really what you want to do. You want to get your window that's smaller than, the frame that's provided by the house. Okay, so it's taken a bit, but after you clear everything out, you want to take your measurements and you want to measure where exactly you want to place your window. So for me, where the cabinets are going to go and where the center of the sink is going to be, I wanted to try and center the window on it. Unfortunately, it just isn't going to work with how the cabinets that we purchased with just our current layout here. There's no way to do it, but I was able to center it a little better. So it's more centered on where the sink is gonna be, and then it's centered between where the upper cabinets are gonna be here. So what you need to do, like I said, I added a little more here, 2x4s. You probably want 2x4s. It's easiest to work with. And so you want to measure and place where you want them so that you can nail those fins in to the 2x4s and the wood that you've put in. So that's the next step for you. So next, after you have everything set up, your measurements, your 2x4s in line, next what you want to do is take the window out front. Sorry for all the cars, but take the window out front, put it in place, make sure it lines up well. Before you put it in, take a level on the outside and the inside. Make sure that it's level and square and exactly where you want it. Then go through. I put just 3-4 nails in. You need to get, I used about 1.5 inches. That's really all you need. But it needs to have a head so that it can catch, obviously. It can't be finished nails. And go through and put them on. and then you're going to go back in, and I'll show you in a second. You're going to check the level, make sure that it's level and where you want on measurement. You might not have much room, kind of like here, so I'm just using a punch, and I'll punch them all in there, but I just wanted to put a few in and show you, and then check the level on it before I completely put all the nails in on it. Okay, so when you have those couple of nails in, just to have it stabilized so it doesn't fall out on you, take your level and, you know, check everything here, make sure it's level. It's kind of hard when there's a lock, but, you know, just do your best to make sure it's level, make sure you measured it properly and it's exactly where you want it. And after you do that, go ahead and go through. It looks like those didn't get lined up properly. But anyways, go through and, you know, finish nailing everything in real quick. So, this is where the shims come into place. So I ended up using a shim on this side because of those holes that were up there. It's a little better, not by much. But the main thing that I was concerned about was that as I measured at the top, it wasn't level. But with that shim, it's pretty dang close now. So that's where you're going to be using the shims while installing the window. So now that I have it all measured exactly how I want, I'm going to go through and put in nails on all of the fins so that it's fully stabilized. So the last part for installing your window is a lot of it has to do with how you're going to design your window and how you want it set up. So again, go through, fill it. If you have insulation, you can put that in as well. You can also use like the silicone caulk to fill it in as well, because I could see a little bit of light coming between those, so I did it on both the inside and the outside. Be sure to do that. Then you need to set it up. If you're doing drywall, you need to set it up so that you have, you know, wood to screw into and to put the drywall on. What I'm going to end up doing is putting drywall here onto here, and then that way I can have drywall, you know, to the window, have a tiny little window sill here, and if I want, I can go back and take it off and actually design it out and everything. So anyways, that's the next step that I'm going to be doing real quick. Okay, so it took a while, but I finally got everything framed in with the drywall, and so that's kind of the last step. Depending upon what you're going to do, we're going to end up putting a backsplash up here, and then I'll probably end up texturing inside here, possibly at some point putting in like a wooden type of molding windowsill if time permits. But anyway, so that's kind of the final step of doing it, along with you need to do the same thing on the outside of rebuilding the wood around it and putting molding on it so that it looks good. So anyways, that's how you install a window on a home. So anyways, hopefully that was helpful, and thanks for watching.